Sound control is one of the main differences you hear when listening to a professional pianist as opposed to an amateur. And the best way to control your sound, if you ask me, is by using your whole body. In this video, I'm going to show you how to coordinate your arm weight and body weight to produce a good quality sound over a wide range of dynamics while staying relatively relaxed and physically free. I'm going to start by explaining what exactly weight is doing and what it's not doing, because there is some pretty confusing information out there about this. Some pianists believe that using weight in the keys produces a different quality of sound as opposed to speed of the fingers or speed of the keys. The mechanics of the piano mean that this basically is impossible. What happens inside the piano is each key is connected to a complicated system of levers and rollers that actually fling the hammer at the string. By the time the hammer reaches the string, we no longer have any direct control over it. So the only thing that directly affects the sound of a given note is the speed at which the hammer is moving. Weight allows us to produce a lot of speed efficiently, precisely, and with ease. Everything else we hear in terms of sound quality comes down to other factors like connecting notes together, using the pedal, and synchronizing movements so that the attacks of a combination of notes sound together. A couple of things need to be in place in order to use your weight to control the sound. Those are topics that I covered in my last two videos on this channel. There's the forearm unit, meaning feeling a connection between each fingertip and the back of your elbow. The other thing is your general posture. So you have to be seated in a way that you feel balanced and able to move from your lower body. Then you can naturally vary the amount of weight that's being transferred through the arm. And what happens is the fingers respond instinctively by gripping downward in proportion to the amount of weight that they feel. So the combination of downward force from the arm with the finger action responding to it is what produces the acceleration of the key and then the speed of the hammer as it reaches the string. It should feel like you're controlling the weight from the center of your body, while the hands stay close to the keys in order to maintain precise control. You can start feeling this by placing your palms flat on the keys and on the fallboard underneath the keys, and just move from your lower back and feel the connection to your hands. You can push back against it like that, and it's basically a rough representation of what we're going to be doing. Now I'm going to try to feel that on a chord as opposed to my palms. Okay. Now I'm going to stay in the bottom of the keys and just push back lightly against the piano, and there's a response in my back. Now I'm just going to play one note and see if I can feel the weight connection again. Make sure my structure is good, so it's supporting the weight. And now I have not much weight. I'm going to lean in slightly from my lower back. And it should feel a bit heavier in the key now. It's not much movement really, but just a subtle shift in the positioning of the body makes a big difference, especially when we're focusing the energy on one specific note. I'm going to play a scale now and try to vary the amount of weight as I'm going up. So the finger articulation responds to the increase of weight, and then we get a crescendo and then a decrescendo. You can use the same technique to help you shape melodies, and it feels like you're controlling the shape of the melody from the center of your body. If you're playing bigger chords or thicker textures, then the amount of energy you need to give from your lower body is more. So on this chord, for example, I can play it lightly without involving my back. It's just a slow arm attack. And then if I want to increase the sound, I'm giving it more energy from my back, my arms and fingers are responding. It feels like the attack is forward and up on the chord, and then for the next one, I'm resetting and coming forward and up again. going to try to show this in a couple of short examples. The first one in a softer dynamic and the second one a bit louder. The first piece is Bach's C major prelude from the Well-Tempered Book 1. The movement is pretty subtle in something like this, but I'm going to try to apply a little bit more weight as I move into the phrase, into the more dissonant harmonies, and then take it off when I want to resolve onto the tonic again. For that to work, each finger needs to have a good shape and a good connection to the arm. So in the right hand, it means I'm rolling from the thumb to the 3 to the 5. So the weight is going to connect directly to each of those fingers as I'm rolling across the hand. Of course, there's some amount of individual control of finger speed, but it's the weight that's giving the general amount of intensity rising through the phrase and then relaxing. The second example is Brahms' B minor Rhapsody. It's marked forte at the opening, and the right hand starts with a long legato phrase. So I'm going to want to put more intensity in the middle of that phrase, but I can't lift my arm off the keys much because it's all legato. So I'm going to apply the energy from my back, and that's going to build the sound in the middle of the phrase. I played this piece when I was a teenager in a competition, and one of the judges wrote that I should strive to play with more of a whole body sound. At the time I had no idea how to do that, but I eventually figured it out over time with the right teachers. That's it for today. I hope you can take something useful from this video to apply to your own work at the piano. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear in the comments below. Thanks for watching.